Am I in the wrong for not ordering any food so I wouldn't have to split the bill? I, 27 male, have been a part of a small friend group, around 8 people total, basically since college. For some background, 2 of them from the group, Susan and Craig, are just absolute leeches. Going out for lunch, expect them to order the most expensive thing on the menu, then feed you some sob story about their finances and then dump half the bill on you. Last weekend, Dan, one of the people from the group, told me about a casual dinner. I told him how if Susan or Greg were there, then I wouldn't be able to come. He tells me that they would be there, but I should just put my opinions aside and come just once. This is kind of where I might be the a-hole. I agreed with him and told him that I would be there. I show up and we all get to talking. Everyone began putting in their orders. Most of them spent about $40. There were only about 6 people there. When it gets to Susan and Greg, they both order expensive dishes, around $200. When it was my turn to order, everyone looked at me, but I just pick up the menu and point to the $4 Miller Lite and send the waiter away. Dan asked why I hadn't ordered anything, and all I said was that I lost my appetite. The other 2 friends got up as well and canceled their orders and just had drinks. After the main courses came out, I saw Susan and Craig picking at their food. The waiter then brings over the check. Greg then grabs the waiter and asks him to split the check 6 ways. I stand up and correct him, saying that the check was to be split 3 ways. Greg looks at me confused and asks why, since we always split the bill. I remind him that 3 of us had not eaten any food, so we would just be paying for our drinks. So basically at the end of the night, Dan, who probably only ate about $50 worth of food, was stuck with the $146.98 check at the end. I swear I saw his jaw drop when he picked up the receipt. I slid $10 towards the check and said goodbye to everyone and walked out. The next morning, I found my phone full of texts from Greg and Susan telling me I'm an a-hole for not ordering any food and forcing them to pay for more than they had accounted for. I honestly laughed because the stakes alone were more than what they had paid, but to each their own, right? I also got a lot of messages from Dan saying that I could have just not come instead of pulling that stunt and getting him stuck with an outrageous bill. So, am I in the wrong?
One of the worst pick-me's I've ever met. I've had my fair share of encounters with pick-me girls, as I'm sure we all have, but this girl has to be one of the top 5 worst that I've encountered. Once you defeat all the pick-me's, you gotta get through her. She's the final boss type shit. So this happened a few weeks ago at my friend's birthday party. So I went there by myself and I showed up, and as soon as I got there, I walk over to my friend whose birthday it is. And I'm just talking to her for a little bit. We hadn't seen each other in a few weeks, so we were just kind of chatting and catching up. As we're talking, this other girl that I don't know comes up and stands beside me and my friend. And my friend's like, oh, Tabitha, this is, let's call her Maggie. And I'm like, oh, hi, Maggie, nice to meet you. This girl looks me up and down and goes, yeah, I noticed you when you first walked in because you're really dressed up. Full disclaimer, I am extra as fuck. When I go out, I like to dress up. I dress up a lot. But for some reason this night, I was not dressed up. So that comment just didn't make any sense. And I'm just like, haha, okay, whatever. Because people say shit like that to me all the time. So I walk away, and then I'm just kind of like talking to other people at the party, introducing myself because I didn't know a lot of people there. So I'm talking to this one guy, and I literally don't even remember his name, but we were just having a casual conversation. I was not interested in him whatsoever. We were just talking. Everything was just very normal and calm. Like there was nothing going on. This girl comes out of nowhere, grabs my arm and goes, oh my God, are you okay? You're like falling all over the place. And I'm just like very taken aback and confused because at this point in the night, I had made myself a vodka soda and I had taken like 2 or 3 sips of the drink. Like by no stretch of the imagination was I drunk. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. So then later on, I'm talking to my one friend and she like mentioned something about March Madness. And as a joke, I said, oh yeah, the only basketball player I know is Tristan Thompson because he's Khloe Kardashian's baby daddy. This girl, who was apparently standing behind me eavesdropping like a freak, turns around so fucking fast. There was a gust of wind because of how quickly she turned around and goes, oh my God, I cannot believe you just admitted that out loud. I was so taken back and confused. Like, are you the fucking CEO of ESPN? Literally, why do you even care? So then like an hour goes by and Maggie is talking to the guy that she almost bulldozed me over to get to, which like side note, I'm sure by what I described, you're picturing like this hot ass guy like Jacob Elordi from Euphoria, hot as fuck. No, like just get that mental picture out of your head because he was not that, which made it even more confusing because it's like, you almost injured me to get to this guy. I think it's so funny because pick-me's always do the most for these guys. And then like whole time it's a guy that uses 5-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, and sleeps on an air mattress. Like it was never that serious. So I look over and see her talking to him, and this is no exaggeration. This actually happened. I tried to take a picture, but I didn't. She literally has her hand to his like this, like in the memes where you see the pick me girl and she's like, oh my gosh, my hand's so small. Like, let's compare it. She has her hands to his literally exactly like from the meme. Like it was literally like she was reading from a script, like how to be the most pick me bitch ever. Like I was floored. I was floored. I was like, there's no way that this is playing out in real life. Like, there's no way that she actually just did this. So then the night goes on and we walk over to the bars, and luckily I'm able to avoid her most of the night because, you know, she was out doing her pick me thing at the bar and I was with my friends. But then I have one last interaction with her, the finale, the final kickoff. So we're walking home from the bars, and my one friend, like, as a joke, was like, oh my gosh, my feet are killing me. Who wants to switch shoes with me? Maggie turns around and goes, I would say you should switch with Tabitha, but I don't think you want to wear her cowgirl boots. These are the cowgirl boots in question. These right here. And what made that comment even weirder was that she was walking ahead of us. Like, I wasn't even in her field of vision. So it's like, why are you walking and just like sitting there and thinking about me and what I'm wearing? Like, very, very disturbing. So I truly hope I see this girl again, because if I do, I'm going to be in the most Western ass outfit. I'm going to bring a lasso. I'm going to come in riding a fucking horse. Y'all, the sad part is I have even worse pick me stories than that. So stay tuned.
These are things that you should never be insecure about. Your nose. Please don't let these white Western beauty standards brainwash you into thinking that there's only one way of beauty. Like, there are so many supermodels that don't have the perfect slope up nose and they are so beautiful. Like Giselle Bundchen, Annie Catherine, and even Julia Nubis. Your nose is something that makes you unique in a world full of bitches with nose jobs, okay? Not only that, but why would you want to erase your ethnic features, babes? Like, why are you letting these Western beauty standards colonize your face, babes? Okay. To the people who are like, oh, but I get bullied for my nose. Girl, literally, who the fuck cares what Miss Sarah thinks about your fucking nose? Like, what the fuck? You're really gonna change your face because Julia doesn't like the way your nose is. Like, what the fuck? Not only that, but your nose is built to fit your face. Like, I see so many people get nose jobs and their nose just automatically look like they got it done because it just doesn't fit their face. You know what I mean? Most of the time when you get your nose done, you're always gonna have to like do a revision or some shit. And also, like, the amount of money you're spending on your face is actually kind of sad. Like, with that money, you could literally travel the world or put a down payment on a house. And most of the time when people get plastic surgery, they think it's going to fix their insecurities, but in turn, it just makes them more insecure. The next thing you should not be insecure about is your height, because I grew up hating how tall I was. I'm 5'9", okay? I was always taller than the boys in my class, okay? And I was actually pretty sad about it until I realized it's a fucking blessing in disguise. Babes, you literally have a height of a supermodel, okay, babe? And honestly, there's something so sensual and cunty about someone who's really tall. Like, it's just serving cunt, it's serving sexiness. And literally no one can buy that, okay? The next thing is curly hair. I used to get bullied because my hair wasn't straight, and I used to be really insecure about it until I found out that bitches out here were doing perms. Bitches out here were really paying to have what I have naturally. Like, curly hair just really makes you stand out. There's something just very cunty about curly hair, honestly. Small boobs. Your boobs is literally something that other people would pay for. Like, they sit just right, they're perky, and they're small. Don't touch those bitches, please. I'm begging you. You shouldn't feel insecure to not be able to keep up with trends. Like, buying every micro trend that hits the market. Because honestly, what happened to personal style? Like, again, are you just not tired of looking like every other bitch? Okay. You should not feel insecure about what type of car you drive or what type of house you live in. Like, I know it's easy for you to compare yourself to other people. Just know you are in your own lane. Everyone has their own journey. Like, shit, not everyone has rich parents, and that's totally okay. But just don't hang around people who make you feel like shit because you don't have the newest car or the nicest house. Like, babes, they're not your friend, okay?
I cheated on my husband of 14 years and lost him forever. This is long, but it's something I need to get off my chest. My husband, 36 male, and I, 36 female, have been together for 16 years and married for 14. We have 2 daughters who are 13 and 12. About 3 months ago, I cheated on him with my coworker once, and I immediately regretted it. To be honest, I still haven't figured out the real reason why I cheated. On the surface, the reason would be that my husband was too caught up with work for a couple of months, and I felt neglected and unappreciated at times. I know that this isn't the real reason, so I'm trying to figure it out through individual counseling. I only cheated on him that one time and immediately told him the next day because I couldn't bottle up my guilt and shame. He was shocked at first, but then went on to call me the most horrid names. I deserved it. I deserved it a lot more than that. I don't even know how it got to the point of me sleeping with my coworker. It started with innocent flirting, and before I knew it, I made the worst mistake of my life by sleeping with him. I wish I'd gotten hit by a car the day before sleeping with him. I cut off all contact with my coworker and gave up my phone to my husband. I wanted to reassure him that I was willing to make this work on his terms. Whatever they were, as long as he would give me another chance. Even though in my heart I knew that I wanted another chance to prove myself, I told him that I would understand if he went through with a divorce. Anyways, I told my husband that I would do anything to regain his trust and express my sorrow and regret for having hurt him so much. My husband has always been the type of guy to give a person only one chance. Even in his friendships, if the trust had been broken, he wouldn't give the other person another chance. He said that he wanted a divorce, but then the whole quarantine thing happened and he stayed in the house for about 2 months and didn't proceed with the divorce. For the first month, he treated me very coldly, and the only time we talked was when it had to do with our daughters. I slept on the couch and tried to give him as much space as he needed, and only reminded him from time to time that if he ever wanted to work things out, I'd be more than willing to and would be completely devoted to the process of him working things out. He even said some spiteful things during that month and distanced himself from me completely. During the second month, there was a change as he began talking to me again. We talked about the daily stuff and even watched movies together with the girls as a family. I felt like he wanted to try reconciling, and I was so happy. I was thrilled that there might be some chance to save my family, to save us. Eventually, through the next couple of days, I could sense us becoming friends all over again. He even invited me to sleep on the bed again. A couple of weeks passed by, and we were getting along even better than ever. We were spending time as a family again and had gotten closer with each other as well. I felt really good about the way things were going, but I wish I'd suggested marriage counseling. I just didn't want to pressure him and have him think that I wanted to sweep this situation under the rug, or I was trying to influence him to not divorce me. One night, we were drinking a bit, just talking in the bedroom, and I felt a genuine connection rebuilding. It felt like we were falling for each other all over again, and it made me so happy. This is the part I regret now. I decided to make a move on him and straddled him while we were laughing at a joke. We looked each other in the eyes so naturally. I began making out with him. It honestly felt like we were 20 all over again. He kissed me back as well, but after a while, he just started crying. He told me to stop and said that he couldn't. I felt so awful because I felt like he wanted to, but didn't at the same time. It broke my heart directly to see how badly my stupid decision had hurt him. I told him that I was sorry and we went to sleep. The reason I say I regret doing this is because I feel like this moment pushed him away forever. 2 days later, he informed me that he wanted to go through with the divorce. He said that he just doesn't think he could make it work even after trying for the last 2 months. I wanted to fight with him about it, but I just told him I understood. We had already decided before that if a divorce was to happen, it would be on fair terms. Sure, we'd both have lawyers and we'd agree on a lot of stuff together. He wanted to take a 2-week trip, but he would come back to pick up the girls after his trip. We both mutually agreed that he'd split the time with his girls after his trip. They would spend half of the week with him and the other half with me. I even helped him pack up his stuff, and we finished. I just bawled my eyes out, and we hugged it out. After his 2-week trip, he came back, and it felt good seeing him again, but I knew it wasn't the same. He just smiled, and we made small talk before he took the girls. We're both really good parents and want the best for our kids. Today, I got served divorce papers. It hurts so much to know that I lost my best friend because I was stupid. You were starved for attention, okay? Not stupid. Sometimes I roll over to his side of the bed in the morning and I hate how I don't feel his body there anymore. I miss his smell, his smile, his voice. I miss him filling up the entire room with his loud, adorable laughter. I miss him so much. The thing that hurts me the most is all of this is knowing how badly I hurt the person I love the most. I wish I could go back in time and undo what I did, but I can't. So now, here I am, writing about it on Reddit while crying when there's nothing that I can do about it. I wish I could let him see him. I wish I could let him see for himself what I genuinely feel in my heart about how sorry I am and about how I would be the most devoted wife ever if he just gave me another chance. To let him know how much I love him and that I literally would do anything for him. I fucked up the most perfect thing that ever happened to me. I wish I could get him back but I know that I lost him for good.
My boyfriend slept with my sister, so I made sure to get my revenge. Story time. So I went to this really popular festival in the town where me and my boyfriend live. I was just vibing, having a really good time. And I see my boyfriend Steve's sister. And she's like, hey, I really need to speak to you. Drags me out the crowd. She starts telling me about this time she went to Steve's house to drop off some parcels. Bearing in mind, she is hammered. So she was loose in the mouth. She's telling me that she goes to Steve's house and she sees a girl. I was like, that's interesting. What does she look like? She describes it as a 5'4" blonde girl and a 5'11" brown haired lady. And I'm trying to think of anyone that I know of that could be of that description. I'm like, there is only one person, right, that I know of that is 4'4" and blonde that both me and Steve know. And that person is my sister. I'm like, listen, I'm just going to enjoy my evening. I'm not going to think too far into this. The festival starts coming to a close and we all start to meet up with everyone I'd gone with, all of my boyfriend's family. My boyfriend has an uncle who we'll call Dave. Dave is 26, I am 23. We're just having that have you had a nice night, la da da kind of conversation. This was winding down. I go say bye to Steve's sister who is stood with all of his family. I overhear his uncle say that Steve is on a work trip for 2 nights. And I'm like, interesting, I didn't know that. So I decided to ask his really cute uncle if he would walk me home. Just a girl. So we get back to my house, we have a couple of drinks together. Oh, you know it, like the night is running away from us. I'm a little bit tipsy, he's a little bit tipsy. Like, well, what better revenge, you know, keep it in the family. I decided to lead Uncle Dave to the bedroom. And then ... So I wake up in the morning after having a brilliant night. Dave is not in my bed. I don't know where Dave is. Dave isn't replying to any of my phone calls. Now I am paranoid to fuck that he is going to tell Steve. So what do I do here? Do I confront Steve about cheating? Do I tell him that I cheated on him? What do I do? Bill, you fought fire with fire and now you're about to get burned. Good luck.
I've heard some crazy stories with girls dealing with their in-laws. Here's my experience with my in-laws as an Arab girl married into a Pakistani family. Quick summary of my relationship in case you're not up to date and you don't know. I ended up marrying my best friend from dental school. Literally 2 years after being really good friends in dental school, we ended up falling in love, catching feelings. Let him know, like, I'm not gonna get to know you unless, like, your intent is for marriage, and he was on the same page. Literally a month in, I knew he was the one, so we just kept talking. I told my mom about him. He had never introduced a girl to his family or anything like that, so he was really scared and I was just like waiting on him like, when are you gonna tell your parents? Funny because I told myself I'm not wearing foundation today and here I am putting concealer all over my face. But one day we're together in school. Randomly out of the blue, his mom texts him. She's like, are you talking to a girl? He's like freaked out because he's like, bro, like this has never happened. She's never asked me any of this. Like I'm over here sitting like, is he gonna tell her? Because I think it's about time he tells her, you know? Like I was kind of just like waiting for this moment. And literally in that moment, he calls her right away and he's like, yeah, I'm talking to a girl. And she's like, send me a picture right now. You guys, quick intermission. I never usually do reverse contour when I do my makeup, but I fear it ate. His mom is like the pickiest person. Like she has such an opinion when it comes to girls. I think like brown moms are like this. A lot of times brown moms don't want their son to marry Arab girls and vice versa. Honestly don't know what it is and why people have such an issue like marrying outside of the culture, but each culture thinks they're the best culture and there's no one better. It was like a scary moment waiting for that text to see what she's gonna say, especially for me because I'm like, oh my god, is she gonna hate me? Immediately replies saying, is she Arab? And she sends another message saying, okay. Like she literally gave her stamp of approval. But I think his dad, when he found out, like he wasn't used to someone marrying a non-Pakistani or someone from outside of their culture. So at first he was like, I don't know about this girl. Her family is very much into education. So he told them like, oh, she's a dentist. Even though his dad knew I was a dentist, he told Tamar like, Arab girls are known to not work. Even if she does get her dental degree, there's a good chance she's just not gonna work. Basically insinuating that I'm a gold digger. There's also a lot of just cultural differences and just the fact that like Arabs are known to not eat zabiha a lot of the time. So there were just a lot of things and tough conversations that we just had to like talk about and overcome. I am all up in your face doing my mascara, but I have to do my mascara like this. There's no other way. The more I talked to his dad and like got to know his dad, and after we got married, he literally treated me like one of his own daughters. He literally sees me as one of his own kids. Whether mother-in-law has been amazing from the jump, like from the start. We don't have any problems, thank God, because I'm telling you, I hear horror stories about girls and their mother-in-law. Personal opinion, I also think it has to do with the way the son treats the mother-in-law, like if he doesn't like hold his foot down or stand his ground or whatever. But that's another topic for another day.
If you think I'm crazy as fuck now, imagine how crazy I was as a child. My mother was visiting this weekend and she was just like reminding me of the crazy shit I did as a child. And I was like, hold on a fucking minute. It all checks out. Like, it all checks out now. And we were talking about this one story and it all just flooded back to me like as if I was in that moment. Growing up, we would have pool parties at my grandma's house. My cousins would be there. My whole family would be there. My grandpa's boyfriend would be there. One thing about me growing up, I genuinely hated my grandma's boyfriend. I did not fuck with that man. And like from a very young age, and I made everybody know that. I was like, I hate him, Brad. We'll call him Brad. I'm like, I fucking hate Brad. And that's dead ass how I talked when I was 10 years old. So it was during one of those pool parties where I like really got into it with Brad. I don't know about what. Like, I was always ready to fight that fucker. Like, he would even look at me and I'd be like, why is Brad fucking looking at me? And I kid you not, I had to literally be 10 years old at this point. So something we all need to know, like when I was 10 years old, my sisters and I, we were thick in our like Kardashian era. Like we were thick in like keeping up with the Kardashians. So like I heard Khloe Kardashian say like, I'm gonna chop your balls off. And I took that with me and I was like, that I'm gonna use that one day. So we're all having a great fucking time at the pool party. Everybody's there. Brad did something to piss me off. I got out of the pool. I looked him in the eye. I literally think he told me no diving. I looked at him and I said, Brad, if you tell me no diving one more time, I'm gonna chop your fucking balls off. No, I was 10 years old. Like in that moment, the entire party stopped. And everybody was just in shock. And you guys know how like my dad was literally like abusive as fuck. My father dragged me out of the pool and was like, what the fuck did you just say? And I said, I want to chop his balls off. Did you not hear me? Obviously, like at 10 years old, I really didn't understand the like severity of what the fuck I was saying. Like I was going to stand by my fucking word. Like I wanted his balls off. Obviously, immediately my dad like loses his mind. My uncle's like, you can't speak to him like that. You can't say that to him. And I was like, well, then he shouldn't tell me not to fucking dive because I will chop his ball. Like I literally would not saying I was going to chop my grandma's boyfriend's balls off at the age of 10. Oh, and I meant every single word I was saying about him. I was like, I'm gonna do it. My dad was like, you need to stop speaking. My uncle was like, enough is enough. No, and I would love to say like that was the worst thing I ever said or like did to that man. It wasn't. That was like mild compared to what had happened in the coming years. I don't know what it is about my grandma's boyfriend, but like I've always had beef with him. I still have beef with that fucker. Me and him just like literally never got along. But yeah, no, I've been crazy since birth. Like I've always been this kind of bitch.
I walked in on my boyfriend hooking up with my two best friends at once. I'm currently at the hospital waiting to get my egg collection, so I'm going to talk really low, sorry. But here's the down low on all three of them. I've known my boyfriend for 2 years. We started off as friends, and we've been dating for 3 months because he chased me. By chase, I mean begged me for months to go out with him. And I finally gave him a chance because I was bored. I flirted with him because I was bored. Now, bestie number one is the laziest person alive. She's always been envious and jealous of me. She's the type of person that's always trying to lose weight, but always has an excuse not to go to the gym. He has no discipline whatsoever. Me, on the other hand, I'm super disciplined. I go to the gym 5 times a week. I eat really healthy. Okay, bestie number two, she has pretty girl syndrome. She thinks she deserves everything because she's pretty. She always wants to be the prettiest girl in the room. When she isn't, she literally gets mad. Anytime one of us brings a guy around, she changes her demeanor. She makes fun of us, tries to put other girls down. She's always trying to look better than everybody else. Everything started 3 weeks ago. You're never gonna guess how I caught them. I started getting suspicious because my boyfriend was not talking to me as much. He wasn't texting me as much. Everyone knows that when a guy does that, it's because he's interested in somebody else. So what did I do? The logical thing was for me to invite my best friends over because I needed to talk to somebody. I made girl dinner, and then when they came over, I told them that something was going on with my boyfriend. He was being distant and not texting me as much anymore. But the way they looked at each other just told me so much. They looked at each other and didn't say anything. Oh, we have to go. We're supposed to hang out with somebody else. I was shocked. Could they just leave me like that, knowing that I felt so bad? I followed my instinct and I followed them. You'll never guess where they went. My boyfriend's apartment. My stomach instantly dropped. But because I've been a good girlfriend to this man, he gave me a key to his apartment. I waited 15 minutes before going up. And when I walked in, best friend number one was lying naked on the table, while my boyfriend was doing things to her. The other bestie was behind him, naked too, doing stuff to his bum. It gets worse. The other bestie was naked on top of the table. My boyfriend was doing stuff to her. Crazy thing is, they didn't even realize I had opened the door. So they were just going about doing stuff to each other while I was staring. So I pulled out my phone and started recording them. Recorded 30 seconds of footage before they saw me. Bestie that was on the table jumped up and said, oh my god, you guys, she's here. Then something amazing happened. My boyfriend turns to me and says, you were forcing me to do what I swear. They manipulated me. They lied to me. They told me that you were cheating on me. Which literally turned out to be true. I showed them the video and I ran away. I drove straight to my parents' house because I know how crazy one of my besties is and she would literally kill me if she could. This is when I I allowed my boyfriend to come into the house to explain everything to me. He showed me messages of my besties telling him that I was cheating on him. They did manipulate him, but I still broke up with him. Sent the video to my besties' boyfriends and they broke up with them too. So now they're single, broke, and lonely. Did I cross the line by doing that?
I'm officially single, so cheers to that. Who thought I would turn to drink? Joking, not doing that, just having a bit of fun. On a serious note, I did not think I would be making this video, but here we are again. Your girl single and not ready to mingle. But sadly, life works in mysterious ways, so here we are. The whole situation is still just a bit mad. Like, you envision your whole life with this one person. Don't get me wrong, he is someone that will forever hold such a special place in my heart. I haven't cried, but I feel like I'm going to now that I'm making this. Stop that, bitch. Like, when I tell you he was genuinely my best friend, he was. Anything or anything, he was the first person I would always go to. I've said before, I will genuinely fight as much as I can for the person that I love and care for. Though I genuinely have no fight left to give. It's not reciprocated and the love isn't enough anymore. I have to know when to stop. Sadly, in this case, that's just exactly what I did. If I don't laugh, I'll cry, so leave me be. It's so sad because in this day and age, just love isn't enough now, and I don't know how to process that. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, care, support, etc, etc. But love is the fundamental thing that goes into a relationship. So if that's not enough, I don't know what else I can do. So I've got to step back. And sometimes it's okay that love isn't enough. And in this case, it wasn't. And I'm fine with that. It doesn't mean I've stopped caring about him. It doesn't mean that I've stopped loving him. I've just let him go. And that was the best decision I could have made. Fuck's sake, I'm in the middle of my makeup. Genuinely like the let them theory. If they don't want to be in your life, let them. If they don't want to stick around and they want to leave, let them. If they don't see a future with you and don't want to work things out, let them. I am not in control of that, and I never will be. I am in control of are my own feelings and what I do now. The last thing I will do is let it defeat me like it did last time. I'm not going back to that freaking dark place. I'm going to pick myself back up and we're going to be totally fine. If you're going for a breakup, we're in this together. I've got my girls behind me and I've got my family, and really in this scenario, that is quite literally all I need. To give you a little piece of advice that I had learned today. That is, relationship is like a puzzle. Hundreds of thousands of pieces that you have been putting together to fit for years. Till you get to the very last piece and that piece just isn't fitting whatsoever. Built something up for years on end and that one piece just is not fitting. There's actually nothing you can do about it. You can't force it. Even though you have been trying for years, it just doesn't fit and it doesn't work out. It is what it is at the end of the day. You can't change it, you can't fix it, you can't force it. And that is quite literally a relationship. Sometimes means it hasn't worked out and there's nothing wrong with starting all over again. Then maybe next time that bit will fit. Look who's crying now, dickheads. You just have to remember this isn't forever. In like a year's time, maybe even a couple of months of time, this will just be another day. It'll be just another day that has passed. And yes, it hurts right now, but I can guarantee in the future, this isn't going to bother you as much as you think it bothers you now. Yes, our little love story has come... our little love story has come to an end. There's a chapter in my life that is now finished and closed. But to see the positive side, this just opens up room for me to create just a new chapter of my life and I guess start from scratch. So here we are. I've got no fucking clue what I am doing. We just have to stay positive and we will find our spark back. Join me on the journey, I guess. I'm going to document a fair bit. So I'm just going to, do some things that will hopefully bring it back.
Am I wrong for calling my husband insane for missing my dad's funeral just because he didn't want me to wear high heels? My dad passed away 2 weeks ago. Before the funeral, my husband, who has always had issues with height, he's short, asked if I was going to wear high heels. I said yes because those high heels are the only pair of shoes that I have with black color to fit my outfit. He tried to get me to wear other shoes, but I refused and gave him the explanation above. He ranted about how worried he was about people seeing him with me and me looking taller. Basically the same old rant. I used to suck it up before, but this time I said no. He said he wouldn't attend the funeral then. I was shocked. I called him insane to miss the funeral over such reason, but he seemed upset and said that I was the insane one for refusing to compromise to make it work. We had a huge fight and he ended up not going. We're not talking to each other as of now, and his family thinks I was stubborn and should have compromised if I really wanted him there.